So you might have heard about this whole Johnny Depp situation that's been going on. It's been this ongoing legal battle for a pretty good amount of time now, and if you haven't heard about it, then you're probably going to be kind of shocked by a lot of this news, because I think even when this all really started to develop, one of the last people on Earth that we thought a story like this would really kind of come up around would be Johnny Depp, right? Because for, so many years now, Johnny Depp has had such an incredible reputation, not only in Hollywood, but with the viewers at home and with people who are just interested in pop culture, things like that, right? I mean, he's played so many good roles in movies over the years, to the point that he's become like a symbol of Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? So when this whole thing really started to kind of break down, a lot of people, including myself, were very shocked. Because at the end of the day, just to put it very frankly, this is not something that most people, if really anyone, would have expected out of someone like Johnny Depp. So to kind of put everything into layman's terms here and give you guys the scoop, I guess, if you're unaware of what's happening once again, Johnny Depp's ex-wife now, Amber Heard, basically filed a restraining order that was temporary against Johnny Depp after they had divorced. This was about 4 or so years ago, so it's been a minute since this actually happened. She claimed that domestic abuse was the reason that she wanted to get this restraining order. Johnny Depp has vehemently denied that he was ever abusive towards Amber whatsoever, and in all reality, he actually has provided some counter evidence that insists that she is more abusive. A bunch of different things have come out. There were some pictures that Amber had apparently taken that showed Johnny Depp passed out with drugs near him and all kinds of other things, which, with that kind of, break in the story where it goes from, oh, he's an abusive person to me, he was beating me, things like that, I need a restraining order, to, oh, let me now publicly share these images of him passed out from what appears to be drugs and all kinds of other things and alcohol. To me, that says a lot more about who you are as a person than most other things that you can do, because I'm sorry, right? If I were divorcing somebody and I made the claim that they were beating on me, I think the last thing that I would ever do is go to the public with images of them passed out, trying to make them look like a bad person. So it's been this huge back and forth, and it honestly seems, from all of the evidence that has come out so far, from all of the things that have been said, including people giving testimony claiming that Johnny Depp was not abusive towards her at any time that they knew about, it really seems like Johnny Depp is getting the short end of the stick on this one. It seems like he is kind of being thrown under, He's kind of being used as a scapegoat in this entire situation, and the unfortunate part is, especially being a celebrity like this, it really is more than just your reputation, you know what I'm saying? If you're the average person, your reputation gets damaged by things like this, sure. But if you're Johnny Depp, and we're talking, a multi-millionaire, probably even more than that, probably just ridiculously rich Hollywood celebrity, all these important roles and things like that, I mean, this can be career damaging, if not ending, if it's put down the right way. But unfortunately, throughout this whole situation, in which, honestly, I've seen more support for Johnny Depp than I have for Amber Heard in the public eye, there's been a lot going on. So one of the big things that recently happened that I think people should know about involves Johnny Depp and a British newspaper. So this British newspaper, which is called The Sun, basically published an article or a story about this whole Johnny Depp situation, in which they literally called him a wife beater. Now keep in mind, Johnny Depp was not convicted of beating Amber Heard. Honestly, there wasn't even foolproof evidence that he had ever beaten Amber Heard at that point. You know what I'm saying? There was no evidence that really ever suggested that that was even the reality. So at this point, Johnny Depp was innocent. It was not proven whether or not any of this was true. And if anything, there was honestly evidence that Johnny Depp was the victim of abuse in this situation. And yet, a newspaper, or a tabloid, I'm not really sure, it probably is a tabloid with the way that it was written, called him a wife beater. Now, this actually turned into a legal situation in which Johnny Depp kind of went after this newspaper because of what he called libel, okay? Because, once again, this is a career-altering situation, If Johnny Depp really does get a reputation as a wife beater in Hollywood, that can really damage his career. That can cause a lot, That can really damage everything he's got going for him. And I'm not sure if this is something that this newspaper had thought about before they published an article like this, but I would assume that they either did not or didn't care. And so it became a legal issue, but just recently a court in the UK ruled that the newspaper's coverage of the Johnny Depp situation did not constitute libel, basically saying that even though Johnny Depp was not proven to be an abusive person towards his ex-wife, And even though that the claim of him being a wife beater could ruin his career, the newspaper was apparently justified by the court to claim him as a wife beater. So I'm not sure how that was really came to that conclusion. I'm not sure what they were thinking. Personally, I would say that this is definitely an overstep on the behalf of this newspaper and that this court has this situation wrong. But now we're talking about a situation in which Johnny Depp not only is fighting the allegations of beating his wife, being an abusive husband, honestly one of the worst things that you can be, he's basically now fighting for his reputation and career. But on top of all of that, in the court system now, they are favoring when people make what is right now considered false statements about him. So it seems like at this point, it's coming from all angles for Johnny Depp, right? I mean, like, what do you think he can honestly do in this situation? I mean, he obviously can't go to the courts for anything. And now you have these news outlets that are attempting to alter the public perception of Johnny Depp, even though the situation is still unfounded. And if Johnny Depp is found guilty, then you know what? That's a completely different story. Like, if there's evidence brought to the court and they say, hey, Johnny Depp really did do this, that's a lot different story than what we're seeing right now, because this is stuff that nobody even really knows for sure. And you're telling me that I'm supposed to just believe instantaneously that this is what this guy did? Absolutely not. And honestly, I got kind of pissed reading one of these articles, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of the highlights of this article and explain to you how stupid this is, okay? Now, this article that we're about to take a look at here is called, and I quote, "The Fall of Johnny Depp, How the World's Most Beautiful Movie Star Turned Very Ugly," okay? And this is a pretty recent one, came out just yesterday. And yet, unlike the ends of Kurt Cobain and River Phoenix, perhaps you couldn't describe this one as a shock. After the judge gave his verdict on Monday morning, Depp's notoriously virulent online followers, a different kind of fan, made sure they got the predictable hashtags trending, all proclaiming Depp's innocence. I often wonder about these online Depp fans, given that they are most likely in their 30s or 40s. Such online standing from the middle-aged is unusual, and yet it is Depp who inspires it, says a lot about him, both what he represented to my generation and how far he has fallen. But by now, most of the world has seen the photos of Heard's bruised face, and the court case presented a relationship that had become gruesomely toxic. The court heard recordings of Heard verbally abusing Depp and admitting to, quote, clocking him and throwing pots and pans at him, but none of that could change the fact that the judge, Mr. Justice Nicole, found the majority of Heard's allegations that Depp abused her proved to the civil standard and that therefore the Sun was entitled to describe him as a wife beater. Alright, so keep in mind, right, you know, first off, and I don't want to be this guy, but just because there's a picture of her face bruised, that doesn't mean that he just, like, beat her or anything. There's a lot of different things that can cause a bruise on your face, you know what I'm saying? Now, could he have beaten her? Of course he could have. Could it be a situation in which the bruises on her face came from Johnny Depp and he really was being abusive? Sure. I'm not discrediting that, but to just openly say that because her face was bruised, he's a woman beater is ridiculous. In a court of law, you have to prove that he actually did that, right? For that to actually make sense. At least that's my mentality on this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just an idiot. But then you'll see, you know, the evidence, right? Where she literally verbally abuses him. There's audio of it in the court, right? And she literally admits to physically assaulting him. She admits to throwing objects like pots and pans at him, which could really fuck him up, right? She admits to all that. But then, of course, the case, it's not spun like that, right? You know, the Sun doesn't call her a man beater. All of a sudden, Johnny Depp is a wife beater, even though all of this comes through. And then you see the way that they try to cover this, right? With these online different types of fans got those predictable hashtags trending, proclaiming his innocence. Yeah, because he, as of right now, is fucking innocent. Have you ever considered that? I thought there was this little thing in law called, you know, innocent until proven guilty. But I mean, according to this, he just did it because there's a picture. And you wonder about these online Depp fans, they're most likely in their 30s and 40s. Well, I'm 20 years old, okay? So I think we're maybe a little off on that assessment. I mean, sure, he's been in Hollywood for a minute, but to pretend like the only people, and realistically probably the biggest majority of people defending him are middle-aged people, I find that to be a little ridiculous. At the end of the day, it's completely okay to say that he's innocent as of right now, because as it stands, he has not been found guilty of anything, and on top of that, there's very circumstantial evidence from what I understand that he even did this in the first place. And to say that Johnny Depp has fallen from grace is also completely fucking ridiculous, considering the fact that he's still a celebrity. The majority of people defend him in this situation. It's not like, you know, the 99% of people are against him and 1% of people are defending him. No. Anytime I see this situation brought up, it's almost always support for Johnny Depp. It has nothing to do with him being a man abusing, or I'm sorry, a woman abusing piece of shit or anything like that, right? It's almost always support for him, because at the end of the day, when you look at this situation, from what we know, it doesn't look like he was the abusive one in this situation, or they were just both physically and maybe mentally and verbally abusive to one another. At this point, I think it's sad, right? Because everything seems to indicate that he really isn't in the wrong in this situation, but then you see the reaction from people like this and from these courts in the United Kingdom, and it's sad to see, because it really doesn't look like he's done anything wrong, but yet his whole basically career is on the line. Now, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus, make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. Thank you to my channel members, your support helps my channel tremendously, and until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, believing Johnny Depp as it stands right now, and signing out.